The CW Twin Cities presents See What's Now, your entertainment news source.
Hey everybody, Jon Foss, CW Twin Cities, and I'm at the Weisman Art Museum talking with Diane Mullin, who's senior curator here, and we're talking about the exhibit Prince from Minneapolis. Tell us about it.
Hi, okay. Prince from Minneapolis is an exhibition we opened up at the end of last year in December, and it began as a project that we were invited to a consortium of faculty and other staff to investigate the life of Prince in Minneapolis and his relationship to Minneapolis, and we were asked to do an exhibition associated with a spring conference about that issue.
Very cool. Prince obviously left a very big impact on the city, and one quote that he said that was famous is, "I like Hollywood, I just like Minneapolis a little bit better." Why is he such an iconic image of our city, and what does he mean to the city?
It's a good question. I mean, that is one of the questions that this conference asks, and we are trying to help ask pictorially here, because in a sense, he did leave an indelible mark on the city, but it appears like the city left an indelible mark on him. Mm-hmm. And that's what the conference will investigate, and we can, one of the decision-making processes we went through was, what would we show? So we have two sections to the exhibition. One, which talks about the early Minneapolis photographers. It was quite a photo city, particularly in the 70s, city pages and newspaper photographers who were photographing Prince early on when he was defining his look. And then we added this second section, which is about fans and others, sort of the push out, how that was pushed out into other parts of the country, New York, Seattle, and also still here. So that for us is what we're investigating and trying to show in the ways in which Prince influenced other artists.
Cool. And so there's the exhibit here, and then there's also the conference coming up. Tell me about the conference and the exhibit, and how did this all come about?
Okay, so the conference is in April, and coincident with the anniversary of Prince's death. It's April 16th to the 18th, and there'll be some activities going on in Paisley Park too. The conference is international in scope, so scholars, they put out a call in the fall, so there'll be scholars here doing a number of panels on different issues, spreading out to things about his effect on through Minneapolis, but also his effect on issues of identity and sexuality and music. There'll be music scholars here. The exhibition was meant to, as an art museum, talk about the visual culture around Prince. So for us, we worked on that to, like I mentioned, to work on finding some of the early photographers, Terry Gideson, Robert Whitman, Nancy Bunt, and Alan Ballou, all of whom were very productive and well-known photographers, particularly photojournalists here in Minneapolis. We got a hold of them and got them to work with us in terms of getting old Prince together to put in our photo gallery.
And you mentioned before the interview that a lot of this was actually planned before his death, is that right?
That's right. We were approached by Arun Saldana, who's a geography professor, who's the head of this consortium, this collaborative, who was applying for university funding to do this project. We were approached by him before Prince died, and in the process, in that first year of talking, that happened, which then bumped up the importance of this, which is why we decided to keep this up for 6 months and hit these kind of targets. We opened it in December, and we wanted to be up during the conference, and actually the Minnesota Historical Society has agreed to loan us the Purple Rain costume for the week of the conference and the week of the anniversary of the death, which will be in the space with the photographs, which is a very delicate, special object. And so that will be here for that week, so that all the scholars and others who come in for the conference will be able to see it here on site. So that's another kind of cool thing that happened in terms of the planning of this.
Yeah, and he'll also be receiving an honorary doctorate?
That's the word, yeah. So that is the word. I'm sure you'll hear more about that, which was part of the initial push that the consortium had wanted to happen. Mm-hmm.
Cool. And you mentioned some of the artists already, but tell me about some of the artists and why those artists were chosen. Okay,
so the 4 photographers, like I mentioned, were all were well-known photojournalists who agreed to be involved in this. Robert Whitman, Terry Gideson, Nancy Bunt, and also Alan Ballou, who was an interesting early color photographer in the 70s. Color photography was sort of making its way as an art thing, legitimate art, and Alan's a real master of that, and so it was really great that we were able to work with him and help him print some of his original negatives, so that was interesting. In this space that we're sitting in is a section 2, which we call Fanning It, which is the gallery that shows artists who were either fans or inspired by or doing homages to Prince. So we have Eric Noren, who did for Anna Schwinn a bike, a special Prince bike. So Eric Noren, who is a bike designer from Minneapolis, those sorts of things popped up. Troy Guya, which is behind you, who does a years-long project called Le Petit Prince, where he uses claymation doll, where he photographs Prince and settings from his movies and from real life, and he's been doing that for years. Behind you, you have Jamie and Einer Delatorre, Mexican-born California glassblowers and print artists who were here the week that Prince died. Actually, we're here at Foci Glass doing a demo, and they decided to do a spirit totem and a figure totem for Prince, and so we were able to secure those on loan here. Lillian Colton, if you know her, the seed artist, Burhan Dogansai from New York, but originally from Turkey, who followed Grego, a New York City graffiti artist who often mentions Prince, and so that's a picture of that. And behind me is probably the most well-known in Minneapolis, who is Rock Martinez. Also, his tag is Sci-Fi Martinez, and Sci-Fi alone, and he did the Uptown mural that sort of went viral right after Prince died. It was originally designed as a get well to Prince, and Prince died over that course, so we...
Oh wow, so he was already in the midst of painting that?
Yeah, he was in the midst of painting it, and I was able to meet him, wait in line. A lot of people were in line, actually, to talk to him, and met him and asked him if he would be interested in be a commission to do a new piece
so that's how
for
the
this gallery.
Started.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
Getting this in here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at Uptown Diner for breakfast and went over and chatted with him, and he said, yeah, I'd love to. So he did a meeting with our art mob, which is kind of a collector art group that goes around and visits studios. But we met there on site, and he talked about being a graffiti artist, and we commissioned this piece, which is large.
Yeah.
He had interesting stories to tell me that I thought very interesting. He said that it took him a long time to get the Uptown mural done because so many people wanted to tell him their Prince story, which leads me to that last. Yeah, he said, I'm exhausted from here. And I said, yeah, that's interesting because I have one too, but I won't tell it to you. But he said it was a really interesting experience of people coming just saying when they met Prince, which leads me to that last piece, which is an interactive video and work that we worked on with the College of Education and Human Development here. Aaron Doring, his name is, who designed this for classroom use. And so it is actually titled Everyone Has a Prince Story. So you can go over there and record and film yourself telling your Prince story. And we're collecting those up, and that'll be a part of what's collected up and put into the catalog for this show, which is actually also being done in conjunction with that consortium. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, this is a cool little, and it's definitely true. I think the LA Times did an article that mentioned that everybody has a Prince story. That's what we say here, and it's kind of true. So that is why we decided to develop that with them, with the education department.
So if this was already in the works before his death, what is the significance of the timing?
I think it's interesting that is interesting. That before it was just quite literally a way of looking at Prince, the way that Arun Saldana was interested in that and interested in his unique relationship to his home city, that he would say that. I like LA, I like New York, but I prefer Minneapolis, and how often Prince sightings really did happen. And I think ultimately his death just really pumped up or bumped up the importance and urgency of doing it now, and not letting it languish or drop away. So that actually just kind of, and it also broadened the scope of people who were interested at the university to help out with this. So that's the thing, and with the catalog and that sort of thing. So I think it became much more urgent to do it.
For somebody who's been so involved with all of this, with this exhibit and all of these tribute, the fan art and stuff like that, what did you think of Justin Timberlake's Super Bowl halftime tribute?
Good. It was good. I think it was good. Yeah, I think it was. I was glad that he was chosen. Of course, when we first started talking about this, we thought maybe we timed it to be open when the Super Bowl was open. We were thinking maybe Prince will play. That'd be really great.
Well, a lot of people think that he has the best Super Bowl performance.
Yes,
all time, so.
And I will say we talked to the NFL and to Paisley Park about showing that here in this gallery, and the rights were not released to us. But
come on, NFL, let's go.
Actually, the NFL was actually
they were cool about it?
Yeah, they were actually cool,
okay.
And it was interesting to talk to them because I felt like that'd be really great. However, that's why we thought this will be a great thing to link up with the Super Bowl, and it was I liked it. I liked Justin Timberlake's. What he did was good. It was really good. I also like what the Minnesota Orchestra did when they opened in the stadium, one of those first televised.
Vikings game? I was
yeah.
there. That was
Oh, you were there.
awesome.
Yeah, I must have seen one of your things. I saw it on one of your films. That also I thought was a very Minneapolis moment. I think that I wish it were more broadly available for people to see because it's just classic.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought when they cut away to the wide shot during the Super Bowl of that performance, when they showed the stadium with the Prince symbol,
it was great.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a good moment for the city. Yeah.
All right. So this exhibit is going on now until when?
June 17th it will close.
All right. And how can people find out more information, get tickets, and be here?
Well, you can get to our website, which is weisman.umn.edu, and all of the events will be on there. We had a talk in January, but there are other events coming up around it. And we're open every day except Monday, and we are free all the time. So that's another thing. So yeah, so get on the website and have a look.
All right, Diane, thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Twin Cities, make sure you check out Prince from Minneapolis. The exhibit is here right now at the Weisman Art Museum.